What's up, CFBS fam? So today we're going to talk about the final series in the 9 foundational movements of CrossFit. So in the last 2 weeks, we talked about the squat series. Last week, we talked about the press series. Today, we're going to talk about the deadlift series. All right, so remember, if you recall, each series has 3 movements in them. The squat series has the air squat, the front squat, the overhead squat. The press series has the shoulder press, the push press, and the push jerk. Each of those movements build off each other. Today in the deadlift series, the 3 movements that we're gonna go over is your deadlift, your sumo deadlift high pull, and your medicine ball clean, all right? Just like those other 6 movements from the press and the squat series, these 3 movements also have some points of performance, meaning if you're able to do these points of performance, if you are meeting these points of performance every time you do these movements, you're moving in a safe, efficient, and effective manner. So let's talk about your first movement, your deadlift, all right? This movement, unfortunately, gets a bad rep. A lot of individuals look at the deadlift as a movement that we shouldn't be doing the older we get in life, a movement that creates a lot of injuries for people, but it is the complete opposite of it. Doing a proper deadlift is what's gonna help you prevent injuries, especially as you get older in life. It's gonna keep you functional. So you want to deadlift, you just wanna make sure you're doing it the right way. All right, so let's talk about those 5 points of performance for your deadlift. Now, for your deadlifts, the first thing we want to look at is that weight is rooted through those heels. We're driving through those heels. We're not pushing through those toes at all. All right, so heels are towards that ground. Now, the next thing we want to talk about is maintaining a nice neutral back by pulling that chest up, not allowing our chest to round at all. So always think about pulling your chest through your shoulders. The next point of performance is maintaining that bar close to your body. So think about pressing your body with that barbell. Or 2 cues that we like to give our athletes is feel the steel the whole time when you're deadlifting, or shave your legs with your barbells, all right? You're shaving your legs by keeping that barbell on your legs the whole time. The 4th point of performance that we're gonna look at is maintain this bar over your shoelaces, all right? Or over the knot of your shoelaces, to be more specific. If you're able to do that, you're keeping this barbell in a nice balanced plane of action, which is what we want. We don't want that barbell separating from you at all right? And the final point of performance we're gonna talk about is active shoulders. Again, earlier this can go hand in hand with keeping a nice neutral back, but we don't want those shoulders rolling forward, shoulders back and down. The deadlift is a full body movement here. So if we're able to hit those 5 points of performance as we're doing our deadlifts, we're doing it in a safe, efficient, and effective manner. Now, the next one we're going to talk about is your sumo deadlift high pull. All right, your sumo deadlift high pull, we're going to be right here. All right, now, in regards to your sumo deadlift high pull, those 5 points of performance carry over from the deadlift. All right, now we're going to add 2 additional points of performance, which are hips first, then arms pull, and the second one is fast, or hips extend rapidly. So what I mean is that as you're standing up, you want those hips to open up, and then we shrug and pull. Now the difference between a conventional deadlift, which is what I just talked about earlier, and your sumo deadlift, and your conventional deadlift, your feet are at hip width. Now, for the sumo, your feet are gonna be at shoulder width. My grip for the conventional is outside my legs. For the sumo, it is inside of my legs. All right, so for the sumo deadlift high pull, we're in this position right here. All right, now, what we wanna make sure is, as I stand up, I'm slowing it down. I drive and I squeeze my butt. Then I shrug, and then I pull my arms. I press down or punch down, and I come back to my next deadlift. So that's one thing we need to make sure we're doing. We're not pulling early. If you start to pull early, you are taking power away from your hips. So stay patient and then pull those arms. The next point of performance is hips extend rapidly. As I'm coming up, these hips need to be powerful to generate that power that we want. The more powerful that we are with our hips, then we're gonna be able to really get that barbell to start to elevate as it's coming up in the air. And as I elevate, I don't have to rely on my biceps or my shoulders to pull that barbell up. It is the hip drive that allows that barbell to elevate, and I finish it off and I pull it off, all right? So really making sure that you are snapping those hips as you're coming up. Now, the final movement is your medicine ball clean. Your medicine ball clean is with this med ball, and we're right here. Now, the medicine ball clean has the points of performance from the deadlift. It has the points of performance from the sumo deadlift high pull. It also has 2 additional points of performance. Those are full hip extension and receive the med ball in a sound front squat. Now, what we mean by that full hip extension is that we're getting tall all the way up. So always remember the phrase, get tall before you get small. So in order to really allow your body to pull yourself underneath that med ball, we need to make sure we're getting nice and tall when we jump from the ground. The second one is that we're receiving this med ball in a sound front squat. You don't want to find yourself collapsing at the bottom of that squat at all, which looks like this. You have a nice sound front squat. We stand up to complete that rep. All right, so always making sure that we're getting underneath that med ball in a nice, strong position that you literally are thinking about pulling yourself down and receiving that med ball. All right, so remember, those additional 2 points of performance for the med ball clean are full hip extension and receive the med ball in a sound front squat. That concludes your deadlift series. That concludes all 9 foundational movements of CrossFit. Remember, these 9 movements, if we learn how to do these movements and we are able to hit the points of performance for all 9 of these movements, every other movement that we do inside of a CrossFit gym will just start to make way more sense, and we're gonna be able to transfer over to every other movement and perform it in a nice, sound, efficient, and effective manner. The sumo deadlift high pull, the med ball clean are a great introduction to your snatches and your cleans. That's why we start with these 2, because if you're able to do these 2 well, you'll be able to do those cleans and those snatches well, which are way more complex movements. If you have any questions over any of these 9 movements, please let me know.